Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Altitude Sickness Podcast. I am Tony, and as always, I'm being joined by Matthew and Drew. How are we doing this week?
Doing good. Excited for the new week.
I'm excited. May is over.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens during the June swoon, but it seems this year they're playing pretty opposite. So,
yeah,
yeah, not too bad. Yeah, we'll get into it.
yeah. A bit of a rough May, to say the least. I think, and it's funny because again, we'll talk about it later. But it wasn't even as bad as last year, and yet it felt. I think just compared to April, where they went 13 and 14, they were close to going over 500, and they were playing well, both pitching and hitting the ball. It just kind of fell apart a little more for the pitching in May, and it just was not as clean. Even though I think strength of schedule wise, it was not as bad as April. Like April was harder, and yet they still played better. But again, I think by then the bullpen wasn't taxed, and it's only going to unfortunately get worse because the starters continue to not pitch well, which we again will get into a little bit. But so this last week, Rockies played against the Dodgers and Giants, so they went on a little bit of a California thing, even though they were in LA, and then they came back home and played against the Giants. But first, against the Dodgers, which, could have expected what happened. They should have won the first game. The first game was the closest of the three. And it was pretty, they had, I'm pretty sure, like a 3-1 lead going into pretty late in the game. And then unfortunately, Juan Mejia and Brennan Bernardino just kind of blew it in the end. They ended up not pitching well, and it just ended up blowing up in the Rockies' face, unfortunately. Tovar did have a home run though in it, so that was good, but it was a little too too late by the time that by the time the bullpen blew it in the end. The next game, let's see, next game, Goodman and Karros had home runs. Don't ask who Karros hit the home run off of. It was totally not a position player. But it was just a blowout, a classic Rockies against Dodgers blowout. It was our man Freeland just continuing his struggles, and again, we'll get into it a little later how rough May was for him. But he allowed in 4 innings he allowed 8 runs. And then Agnos had to come in and relieve, and did not relieve well, and that's been a little bit of a trend, honestly, since he started that game against Arizona, where he pitched really well. Since then, he has not been good. He allowed 7 runs in 2 innings, unfortunately. And again, it was the Dodgers, but that you can only use that excuse so much. You can't really, you're a major league pitcher, you gotta kind of move on from that. And then that last game was just honestly not fun to watch at all. The Rockies just got absolutely dominated by Ohtani. He went, I think, either 6 or 7 innings, and he didn't allow a hit. I think it was 7, maybe it's 6. I don't remember. It was no hit innings though. They scored a run by getting 2 walks and then an RBI ground out by Willie Castro or something. So it was a 2-1 game for a while where the Rockies didn't have a hit. Which, those are always funny games, but Tyler Freeman came through in the 8th inning and at least prevented history, but other than that, just an absolute domination from the Dodgers pitching staff against the Rockies. Sagano did okay. Again, if you're going to use the excuse of it's the Dodgers, he allowed 3 runs, I think, in 4 1/3. Which is kind of typical for Sagano, I feel. Normally he goes a little bit deeper, but I think his pitch count got a little high. He did allow 2 solo home runs in that first inning, one to, of course, Ohtani, because why not just...
I think we all expected it.
Yeah, it was kind of the most obvious thing that was ever going to happen. And that was kind of it in LA. It was kind of a quick, clean series. They had their chance at the one game in the first game, but once they blew that, it was kind of over from there, it felt.
Yep.
And so but it is what it is. The Rockies are clearly a much, much inferior team to the Dodgers. And it gets proven time and time again how much work that the Rockies front office has to do. But again, it's also not just on them, it's on the players to play better, especially the pitching staff. And then obviously the offense in that last game as well. But overall, whatever. It is what it is. But the next series, at least, was a better one, and they needed it so bad because I don't think that at that point they had not won a series in May. That was the first sweep, I believe, of the year. That was the first time the Rockies have been swept this year. Besides Atlanta. Atlanta's the one series that they got swept otherwise.
They also got swept by the Padres.
And the Padres. Okay, well then never mind. Maybe it was the first
and
sweep
by the Marlins.
Oh, wow. Never mind. I think it may have been the first sweep in May. Maybe that's what it was.
I think it was, yeah.
I think they didn't get swept in May, which is kind of crazy, again, for how bad they played in May, but they did the typical Rockies thing where they just win one of those games but can't win either the other two. But in this series, they actually ended up winning the series. Their first series win, I think, since April, because I don't think they... Yeah, since the sweep of the Mets. Geez, that's sad. But it was a good one, and I had a question here I have in the notes. On Friday night, the 8-6 win, is that the biggest win of the year so far?
Easily.
I think I don't even know what would be a contender otherwise.
It was way better than extra innings because we were sitting here in these exact spots watching it, and you see the Rockies down 3-4, and you're like, okay, maybe something can happen here. And then the Giants score 2 runs, and then it's 3-6, and we're like, oh, yeah, well, that was fun. It's over.
Yeah.
But then just the fashion in which the game was won. Goodman's home run that had us on the edge of our seats. It was sort of Jake McCarthy-esque. We didn't know if it was fair.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Tovar walking it off was just phenomenal. So, yeah, I think that's easily the biggest win of the year. That beats any extra inning win the Rockies have had this year.
I think the only contender, if we had beat the Padres that first game to put us over 500 for the first time, I think that would have been the only contender.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And so it was like we said, both Goodman and Tovar. Tovar actually had 2 home runs in the game, which is really good to see. It looks like he's starting to get his swing back a little bit when his timing is back, which he so desperately needed. I made mention of this when I first joined the call before the podcast to Drew, that Tovar is now above 0 WAR this year, which is crazy because I think even last week he was still in the negative. So in 1 week he has gone up that far, and he's just gonna hopefully continue that streak of just staying above. So that was really good to see. And then Jaden Hill and Seth Halverson both pitched very well in the game. Jaden Hill continues his just honestly brilliance. He's been kind of overshadowed by how good Senzatella has been, but Jaden Hill has been honestly just as good as Senzatella. And it makes me really happy because I have been pretty high on Jaden Hill. But yeah, it was a really, really good win for the boys on Friday. There was the whole group of fans doing the tarps off thing again, and so that's twice the Rockies have won with the tarps off stuff. So that was really cool. And then the second game of the series on Saturday, Rockies come out and they win again. It was another 8-run rout. It was 8-3, and it really was not. It didn't feel close because. I think big props here goes to Ryan Feltner. He, in his return back from the IL, he absolutely dealt. He pitched 6 innings, not allowing a run, only had 2 strikeouts, but he got outs when he needed to, and he was very, very effective. It was really, really good to see. Kyle Karros hit a home run. And Jake McCarthy hit a home run. That's Kyle Karros' first home run, not against the Dodgers in his career. So that's cool. And then Jake McCarthy had a 3-hit day, including a home run with 4 RBIs. So he's just continuing to be good, and now he's being good in that leadoff spot because he's earned it back because of Edouard Julien struggling so much, and he's been able to stay hot and stay good in that leadoff spot, and so that's been really, really good to see.
Yeah. I think if this weren't Feltner's first appearance from the IL, he would have gone at least 7 innings. He left with 63 pitches, which you hardly, unless a Rockies pitcher is getting torn apart, you'd never see the Rockies pull a pitcher that early. So yeah, he would have went longer if he wasn't coming back from injury, but he dealt. I mean, only throwing 22 balls out of 63 pitches.
Yeah.
Rockies pitchers rarely do that.
Yeah.
So being able to find the strike zone, especially when, I mean, the team was obviously struggling if you only get 4 hits off Ryan Feltner. So
it's true.
Being able to command the zone when a team is struggling instead of walking them and letting them get back in the game.
Yeah, it was pretty, and like you said with the 63 pitches, I think he would have gone out, yes, if it wasn't like coming off the IL. Also, I think the score had something to do with it. If it was a closer game, I bet Warren Schaefer may have tried to stretch him into that 7th inning. But I think at that point, I don't know what the score was, but it was like 6-0. It was pretty not close at that point. The Rockies were kind of on them, so I felt like that probably played a little bit of it. But and then the third game, I kind of don't even want to talk about. Like, Rockies won the series, but they lost the
lost the run differential.
Yeah, run differential score by a lot.
Pretty bad.
An absolute blowout. It was pretty close for the first 3 innings, which may have been the longest 3 innings I've watched this year. It was ridiculous. It took 2 hours to get through the first 4 innings, I think, which is just crazy.
And it wasn't even super high school.
Seriously,
it was long at bats.
I don't know how many full counts there were, but I think at one point I heard the broadcast say there were at least 9 from the Rockies alone. Because Robbie Ray had like 90 pitches in the 4th inning or something, and the Rockies only scored 3 runs, and 2 of those were off of an error by Robbie Ray. So but after honestly the 4th inning, it was just kind of all the wheels fell off for Rockies pitching. Zach Agnos came in, and it was just not good. He's continuing to just not be good, and we'll talk about it in a sec. Bernardino was the only pitcher that did not allow a run, so good job him. Karros and Freeman got a few hits, but overall not really that great of a showing.
I told myself earlier that I'm not going to rant.
Okay.
But that was an absolute punt by Warren Schaefer.
Yeah.
An absolute punt. Well, we won the series, we're good to go. That's fine. We can lose this one. Because throwing a dude who just gave up 7 runs like 3 days prior, in a game where you're only down 1 and it's a lot of back and forth, it's not like the Giants scored 4 in the first inning and then did nothing. And same thing goes for the Rockies. It's not like it was very back and forth. And so I'm slightly disappointed with that choice. When you had other options that were probably more high leverage guys. As we talked about, if the game was tied or they had the lead, it might have been a little bit different. But it certainly felt like just a punt away from Warren Schaefer.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 4-3 going into that 5th inning, and then Agnos just proceeded to allow 7 earned runs.
I don't even think he walked anyone. He was throwing in the zone.
He walked 1 guy. He struck out 2. He struck out 2 of the guys somehow. But it was just an absolute, just not. And what's crazy is he ended up throwing 35 pitches in it, but he allowed like 5 of the runs in like 17 pitches or something like that.
He allowed back-to-back doubles which one scored in 3 pitches.
Yeah. It was absolutely just not a good showing from anyone. But, games are going to be like that. It's just really not good right now with the starting pitcher, because again, this was Tanner Gordon, who allowed 4 runs in the 3 innings, but he couldn't make it past 3. That it wasn't a like, oh, he was getting shelled. It was his pitch count got so high and he couldn't get more outs because he just kept allowing hits. And Tanner Gordon's a weird case because it feels like he either deals or he is terrible. There's no average start for Tanner Gordon. He either allows over four or more runs or no runs. It's just annoying. It's kind of just how it is right now. But that's this 2 series that the Rockies played. They went 2-4. You know, kind of what we expected. I think we were talking about how we'd be happy if they go 2-4. But and realistically, again, they really should have they should have gone 3-3 here. They should have won that first game in LA. But it is what it is. Bullpen's going to do that sometimes. So, but next up, we're talking about the just a few moves that the Rockies had to make some room and injury stuff. So we mentioned last week that Jose Quintana went on the 15-day IL with a left elbow inflammation or something, left elbow sprain. He actually just got transferred, just 4 days ago, got transferred to the 60-day IL with that left elbow sprain. And the Rockies then reinstated pitcher Jeff Criswell, so he's back at least. So some depth. He's probably not going to be up for a bit because he's got to stretch out a little bit. I'm assuming the Rockies are going to use him as a long reliever guy because that's how he's been in his career. And he was pretty good last year up until he got hurt, and so hopefully he can have that again and be good. He reminds me a lot of a Tanner Gordon type, except more of a reliever. So, but that's where that is. And then right before, like minutes before we started recording, another move was made where the Rockies have selected the contract of TJ Shook, a right-handed pitcher. He's a reliever. He's been actually pretty good in AAA this year, and so, like to see that. They optioned Zach Agnos because they needed to. And then they transferred Wellington Herrera to the 60 IL. I think that just shows me that God does not want the Rockies to have 2 left-handed relievers ever. You can only have one because then he has smitten the only other one that we could have had, which is just brutal.
And our lefty starter, and one of our lefty starters,
and
too.
one of the lefties, yeah. So we're just down to like nothing right now. But that is what it is. But really quick on TJ Shook, just want to make note he's pitched 28 in the third innings in AAA to a 2.86 ERA in Albuquerque is pretty good. In terms of strikeouts, he's got he's 29 strikeouts to 8 walks, so that's pretty solid. Only a 1.09 WHIP, so he's been pretty solid. That's actually pretty good in AAA, so hopefully he can give a little bit more room. I'm assuming he's just going to fill in the role that Agnos did, where you're probably going to get multiple innings out of him and go from there. But really brutal.
I have a fun fact
about
TJ Shook.
Okay.
His first name is actually Franklin.
Oh.
Yeah, his name is Franklin. I think I'll just call him Franklin.
That's fair. I didn't know that. Why does he go by TJ then?
Well, it says his middle name's Todd, so he might be like a Franklin Todd Shook Jr. And he's like, "Nah, I don't like the name Franklin," which is kind of fair. And then he switched.
He doesn't really look like a Franklin, in all fairness.
No.
Sorry,
that was kind of an irrelevant sprinkle.
No, that's fine. Shockingly, he has never made the majors. I thought he did. He's been pitching since, I don't know when he got drafted. Does it say? No. Okay. But yeah, so he's never made the major league, so will be his major league debut, so that's cool. He's only 28 too. So, that's relatively old, but whatever. So, hopefully he'll be able to be good.
He turned 28 3 days ago.
Oh wow.
He missed his birthday.
Brutal. Well, if Zach Agnos pitched just like Warren's in all fairness, he did 3 days ago.
Yeah,
he did pitch that bad, but Warren Schaefer didn't learn his lesson. And then, again, really quick, like brutal stuff for Wellington. Like that just stinks. He makes his major league debut. He pitches like 2 innings, and then he is now most likely done until August at the minimum. So that just stinks. Hopefully, whatever it is, it doesn't say what happened. I don't know what happened. So, I don't know. Or maybe it might be on the Rockies Twitter. I didn't see it. Why he went on the IL?
I didn't see anything.
Because he went on a few days ago. Hold on, I'm doing this really quick. I'm hurrying. Left elbow inflammation. So I don't know how that takes 60 days to heal, but okay. Hopefully that's not TJ, because that's where it gets bad. So maybe that's what TJ stands for TJ. It's Tommy John.
Great.
That's a brutal name. That's not a good name.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd rather not go by the name. But I don't know. But anyway, so next up, if we got nothing else on any transaction stuff for the series, next up we got is the records. So we've been pretty, honestly, I feel like a lot of these episodes, we've been trying to keep up the vibes, but like it's been a very rough May. And all I can say is thank God that we did it this year and not last year, because I don't know how we would have done. So, like, for how bad the Rockies have been in this May, which has been a really not good one, they were quite literally twice as bad as last year. Like, last year they were twice as bad. So, in terms of record-wise, if you want to go by that. So, what I mean by that is comparing 2025 month of May to the 2026, Rockies had 8 wins this year, and they only had 4 last year. So that means, they had 24 losses last year with 20 losses this year. And so, as bad as it was this year and not fun to watch, like, kind of crazy that we even made it through last year in any semblance. Runs scored wise, offense was a decent amount better this year. They scored only 85 runs last year, but this year they scored 114. So that's nearly 30 runs more. That's pretty solid. That's a 1 run a game more, almost, a little more than that. So that's pretty good. That's what you like to see. What you don't like to see is that last year they allowed 191 runs, and this year they allowed 190. So 1 less run. Not ideal, to say the least. Especially for when new pitching coaches, new stuff like that, trying to implement new things, and it's just not working. That's not good. And we've seen it again this year, as it has happened, I think, for the last, as long as I can remember. This bullpen just instantly gets taxed because the starters cannot go deep into games. And again, that part of that is because the personnel that we have is just not that good. So like, and it doesn't help that, again, Dollander got hurt. Ryan Feltner got hurt. Tanner Gordon has not really, he's been bouncing between starter and reliever. Jose Quintana is now hurt. Kyle Freeland was on the IL for a little bit, I think. Was he? I think he was.
Yeah.
So like everyone on the rotation except Lorenzen and Sagano, and one of those is terrible. So like it's really not good, because and again, like the bullpen is only going to get more taxed because that's how it goes throughout the year. And the Rockies do not have that much depth in the minor leagues. Their pitchers that are down there are not ready. They're still struggling and figuring things out. So these guys have got to make do. And at some point, yes, I get it that the coaching staff may not be helping too much, but also at the same time, like, pitch better. I don't know. I know it's not that easy, but like it's insane. I don't understand how, like, Freeland, his fastball went from 94 at one point this year, because he was getting up there, to it's back down to 89 miles an hour. If you're hurt, go on the IL. Don't keep pitching. Like, because you're bad. If you're not healed, if you're not healthy, do not pitch because you are only making it worse for the team and for yourself. So like, I don't know. And then a few other things, just like OPS wise, Rockies a little bit better this year, or this year in May. Last year was a 635 OPS to a 664, so still below average, but that's a decent amount better. ERA this year, though, even though we allowed one less run, somehow we had over a half run more of an ERA. I'm assuming there's probably a lot more unearned runs scored type of thing, like the ratio for that. Because think about it, last year's defense was terrible. Like, so a lot of those runs were not allowed, yet these runs probably are more allowed because the defense has been better this year, other than Troy Johnston, which we don't talk about. But ERA last year was a 6.02, and this year was a 6.77, which is just insane. So...
Well, and to be fair, if we've played one more game, which I don't know how many, I guess I can check that, but like, if we even played one more game this year than we did last year in May, that could also inflate it a little bit.
Yeah. We played the same. I mean, we played the same amount. Yeah. We played 28 games in both, which is fair. But think about it. If we played one more game this month, we would have passed those runs allowed. We would have allowed 2 runs because that's how we do it. So, and in all fairness, the last game in May inflated those numbers pretty bad. And some of those runs are also going against Brett Sullivan. I guess only 2 of those runs go against him. Somehow he's only allowed 2 runs. Why does he have why is he the best pitcher on our team? I don't know. But, and then, yep, in terms of record on June 1st, before the game that was on June 1st ended, last year the Rockies, they were 9-49, which is just insane. This year they are 22-38. So that's 13 better. That's 13 game improvement. That's crazy. And yet we're still so down bad with this team because they have been playing so bad. And yet it is still, honestly, leaps and bounds better offensively wise, I think. Pitching is still clearly an issue. It will always be an issue. And it just shows that front office, they still have a lot of work to do because they got to figure out what to do. And so that's just kind of where they're at right now. But not much else to say with that, honestly. It's just, that's kind of how it is. But to end off the month, to move past the month, last off, we're going to talk about some good things from the month and some bad. Would we rather talk about bad or good first? I figure we should talk about bad first so we can end on better things.
Yeah, let's just get the bad out of the way.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off. So we're doing the who's hot, who's not, but we'll do who's not first. Unfortunately, it's our boy, Edouard Julien. Oh, man. In the month of May, he hit 082, 188, 082. Did not have an extra base hit for a 270 OPS. He had 8 walks to 22 strikeouts, which isn't even like terrible in terms of a ratio with 2 stolen bases. But again, I think he ended up going like 5 for 61 or something like that. It was just insane. He has like the 3rd longest hitless streak in Rockies history now. That record held by none other than Ryan McMahon, because who else would it have been? But Edouard Julien almost unfortunately joined that company. But it's just been one of those months. I don't know, because he was really good in April.
Maybe I just need to say that he's awful.
Yeah.
And then he will turn it around once again like he did last time.
Yeah, maybe that is it. So
he sucks.
There we go. We have now anti-jinxed him. So there we go. And then 2 pitchers to talk about, which we've mentioned already. You could kind of throw a lot of the bullpen in here too, but there's 2 guys that need to be focused on here. It is Michael Lorenzen and Kyle Freeland. I don't know what is up right now. Let's talk about the least bad, and it's somehow Michael Lorenzen. And so in the month of May, in 23 and a third innings pitched. He had an 8.87 ERA, and he had 19 strikeouts to 11 walks. So I don't even know where to start, honestly, with this, because his biggest problem has just been that I feel like his biggest issue has been that he has that one blow up inning. He's okay for most of the other innings that he pitches, and he has that one inning that really, really gets out of hand. And it feels like recently it's been happening earlier and earlier in games. And then also it's happened more frequent, like twice in a game that he's had like a 3-run inning, no runs, 3 runs again. And it's just been really, really not good to watch. And again, this is the guy who wanted to pitch for the Rockies. He wanted to solve Coors Field, and so this is just a bad look for him, honestly. And I don't really know, because he's gone on interviews talking about how he feels good. He doesn't feel like his pitches aren't doing what he doesn't want. He feels like physically fine, but I don't know. There's clearly something wrong.
But for the future free agent signings, it's also a really bad look for the Rockies.
Yeah.
That if you want to figure out Coors, this is what happens to you.
Yeah.
And Michael Lorenzen was not an all-star last year by any means, but he was fine. Like, he was okay. Like, if that were a Rockies pitcher, I'd be like, cool. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year it just doesn't look good for like this upcoming year when the Rockies are trying to get free agent pitchers over to try to give them like a bounce back year and figure Coors out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm looking back at a few of the games here. Like his first start in May, he allowed 1 run in the first, none in the second and third, and then 3, none, and then 3 in the sixth, which ended up being, 7 runs. And like, sorry, with this Rockies offense, you're not going to win with that. Then he pitched 5 innings of 2 runs, good. But then 4 2/3 of 6, and again, it was no runs, 2-3-2. So he hit a wall of some sort. And maybe, again, you could maybe argue that, Schaefer, take him out when he's clearly gassed, but it's like, it's not that easy when this bullpen is still, like, the bullpen needs rest too. Like, these guys can't pitch every night. They can't bail out this team every single night. 5 innings with 5 earned runs, again, 0-0, 3-2. So it's just, he hits this wall, and then in his last start, allowed only 3 runs in 3 2/3, which this one was he did end up allowing some unearned runs here, but that's how it goes. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, that's kind of how it's been with him, is that he feels like he just hits a wall, and it's been happening earlier and earlier and more often in games. And so he's just got to figure it out. I don't really know. I don't even know. I'm trying to think like what his biggest issue has been in terms of a pitch. If it's been like certain pitches that have not been doing that well. I'm checking really quick on Baseball Savant. Okay, well, everything is bad.
Yeah.
His 4-seam fastball seems to be getting crushed. Oh my goodness. It has a 375 batting average with a 771 slugging against. So that's like Aaron Judge hitting his fastball every time. His changeup has been getting rocked. Not quite as bad, but still not good. His only pitch with a batting average under 200 is his sweeper, which he throws 7% of the time. Yeah. So pretty much everything he's throwing right now is getting hit. Not good. Not good at all. Oh my God. When your 4-seam fastball only gets a 9% whiff rate, that is bad. That is not good. And who wants to bet that Kyle Freeland's is getting just as bad? I would like to bet that.
Segue into Kyle Freeland.
Yeah, good segue. Look at this. I'm going to check out really quick. Let's see what his numbers really quick in May were. So in 21 2/3 innings, I can't believe this is even a real number. He has a 12.46 ERA. He had 22 strikeouts to 9 walks.
Which isn't even a bad ratio.
No, that's a solid ratio. That's arguably a better ratio. That's a better ratio than Lorenzen.
Yeah.
But I think his problem has been that he just allows way more runs. Let's look here. He allowed 6 runs. Does he? I don't think he has the quite. Oh, he does kind of. So first start 0 runs, but then 3, then 0-0-3. That was when he allowed 6 runs. He goes into the 4th inning most games. Oh, here's this one. This is 0-0-5 and then 1-1. So he's got a little bit of the blow up. Who was that against? That was against Philadelphia. Yeah, he did not pitch that well against them. 6 runs in the first inning against, was that Arizona? Yeah, 6 runs against Arizona in the first inning, not good. And then again against, who was that? The Dodgers, where he just got blown up. 2 runs in the first, and then 2 in the third, and 4 in the fourth. Just not. Wow, this is. He has quite the savant page. Blue is bad, by the way, and he pretty much has all blue. That's insane. I don't think I've. The only thing that he has is somehow he has a chase percentage that's in the 84th percentile. He doesn't walk a lot of guys, so that's in the 75th, and then his extension is good, which who cares? Everything else is blue. Not good here. And I'm checking out his stuff. 4-seam fastball. Wow, it does have a higher whiff rate than Michael Lorenzen, so I was wrong. It has a 13% whiff rate. Good job, Freeland. But it's also getting slugged at an 851 clip with a 404 batting average. So
it goes like 94 miles per hour.
Exactly.
Oh, that's on his best day. That's the worst part.
No, that's yeah.
Most of the time he's sitting 89, 90.
He's currently averaging 91 miles an hour on his 4-seam fastball.
God.
91.3, which is 0.3 miles an hour slower than last year, which, whatever. It's just not been good. It's kind of the same old. With what it's felt like with Freeland, is that he's just not been doing well at all. Looks like this year he has the highest pull air rate in his career, which is fly balls that are getting pulled, which are, the power. Those are home run balls, are fly balls that get pulled. And he currently has a 20.8%. A fifth of the balls that are hit are pulled in the air. That is not good. That is bad.
Especially at home.
Yes. So that's 20%. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Dick Monfort is going to re-sign his golden boy, hometown hero, after this year. I know he's going to. But when does the pain and suffering end? Like, we got to think about Kyle Freeland here. Like, when will his pain and suffering end?
I mean,
because we get so excited for the season, the off season, for opening day. Baseball's so back. And then, oh yay, Kyle Freeland is marching onto the mound again.
Well, here's the thing, is that at the end of the day, sure, when does Dick Monfort learn? But it's also well, Kyle Freeland's the one that signs the contract.
Because no one else will sign him. Rockies are the only team that will sign Kyle Freeland, and I can guarantee that. I mean,
he'll probably, if he got anything, he'd get minor league deals, probably somewhere. Yes. He's filling in as a fifth, rotation spot. Good thing he's our ace.
You guys were able to see him when he was good, so you may
it was a glorious time when that was.
I have not the lowest ERA Kyle Freeland's had since I've been a fan is like a 4.9. So that doesn't really make me like him very much, and I understand that he is still the Rockies' ace.
Blasphemy! I'm kidding. He's not.
But I just don't. He becomes a free agent at the end of the year. I do not want the Rockies to sign him, even though I know they will, and he will be on the bump for opening day next year. And I'm just going to be very sad because I think Dollander still has a few years until Kyle Freeland's really that bad, and they get rid of Dollander's not going to be the opening day starter until Kyle Freeland is gone.
Well, Freeland has a vesting option next year. I don't know. Right?
No, I think he's just an unrestricted free agent.
After this year?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm not gonna lie. I do not know. You are all on the Monfort's gonna sign him. I think even if Monfort does sign him, I don't know if he's the star. I don't know if he is the opening day starter next year because
Never mind.
What?
Never mind.
Is he ever?
It says. I think it's conditioned player.
He has to reach 170 innings, which is not going to happen. A Rocky pitcher has not reached 170 innings, I think, in 5 years.
So yeah, I'm good. I'll happily pass on paying him $16 million
How many
to
times
stink.
Freeland has only reached 170 innings twice in his career. Huh. One in 2015.
And the way he's performing right now, I don't foresee that happening unless.
No, well, also because he got hurt too. Like, there's no chance. His ERA.
We can go to the happy stuff. I don't want to say on this.
I was gonna say, like, we've been talking about it enough. But brutal stuff. Honestly, like, sad, but that's just how it goes. Now on to happy things.
Who's hot?
Who's hot? So Ezequiel Tovar, this isn't for the month of May. I'm just talking about like recently. We're gonna pick and choose stats here, so he looks a lot better. That's how we do it. If you torture numbers enough, they'll tell you anything. So, that's what we're gonna do here. So in the last 6 games, Tovar, so pretty much since the last podcast, he hit 318, 360, 722 for a 1.87 OPS. He had 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks in a week, which I feel like that doesn't happen very often, and then 5 strikeouts. So absolutely awesome. It's honestly just great to see him play well. I know I've talked about Jordan Beck a lot, who, rest his soul in terms of this team, but Tovar is probably my favorite player to watch when he's good. When he's playing well, Tovar is by far my favorite player to watch. And it's really honestly just been really nice to see him do that again and enjoy the game, because it stinks to watch him not be good. So I'm tired of watching him flail at that low and outside slider. Start hitting the ball.
We got a sneak peek during the WBC what he was capable of, and then just the fall off in the first month and some change of the season. So he's finally getting back to it. And the one stolen base he has is the best way to steal a base. So.
Oh yeah, and he's still home. Yes, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
And they say, yeah, he was like the first player to have a stolen base of home and a multi-home run game, and one of those home runs be a walk-off.
The most ESPN stat of all time.
Very much so, but still fun.
But you'll take what you can.
Actually, I want to do. I know we're kind of running long, but I do want to bring up this argument. I think his stolen base home should be defensive indifference.
It's no.
It was not at all.
Not.
I think it was defensive indifference.
Why? Because they didn't make an attempt at him?
They did. They literally threw it home. I'm pretty
sure they did throw it home.
Never mind.
They threw it home, and then Edouard Julien took third, I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to convince you guys one day. There was a defensive indifference.
There was.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the Rockies have played in so many blowouts recently, there have been quite a few defensive indifferences recently.
So, you got to love. I need to just keep a count.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't actually like.
I don't know if that's
a stat for that.
I was going to say they should, but obviously that's the whole point, is to not. Yeah. Maybe next year we can do something where it's like, or like from now on, how many defensive indifferences do we think the Rockies will have, or something like that?
I can keep track.
We'll have a counter or something.
I can keep track.
I don't even know, but
how do you predict that?
I don't know. But anyway, a few other good guys here. TJ Rumfield continues to do good things here. In the month of May, so this is now the full month of May, he hit 310, 400, 483 for an 830 or an 883 OPS. He had 3 doubles, 4 home runs, 12 RBI, 10 walks to 14 strikeouts, which is in a really, really good ratio. He continues to just be, right now, with Moniak out, he's probably the best offensive player on our team. It really stinks because right now he's dealing with a shoulder hurt, like his shoulder is sore, and he's been out for the last 3 games. And I swear to God, if he goes on the IL or something, knock on wood, I will be very, very, very frustrated. This team cannot afford any more injuries. What did we do to deserve this? Like, we already are bad enough. It's like we don't need more obstacles. But he's been doing super well. And so I'm just hoping that he can come back soon and continue to do good things. And then, like I mentioned before, Jaden Hill continues to be probably the second best bullpen guy, but he's top 2 for sure. 9 and a third innings, 1.93 ERA, 11 strikeouts to 1 walk is just absolutely crazy. He has been silently doing his thing consistently. I think he's been better as like kind of a 1 inning guy. He'll once in a while go get the, one like finish an inning and then go back out. But like I think the 1 inning thing is what he strives at, and I think he does a lot better with, and so I hope that they continue to do that with him. And then Senzatella did his thing. Month of May, 13 and a third innings, 2.70 ERA, which is higher than it was last month. But, it's going to happen. You're going to allow runs. 7 strikeouts to 4 walks. He's not a strikeout guy, but he's been still probably the Rockies' best pitcher in terms of bullpen and starter, honestly, just overall best pitcher. And right now, he's probably the Rockies' best trade chip. And we'll be talking about, more and more trade stuff coming up in future episodes. But all I hope is that he better not go to the Padres, because he has been currently linked to them via a few writers, and I would be so unbelievably mad. He better revert back to 2025 Senzatella if he does that. But that's where we're at right now.
The only thing I'll say about Senza is they have used him in like 2 innings max a lot, just so he's available every other day, pretty much.
Yeah.
But man, it would be nice to get, like, I understand maybe why they didn't put him in yesterday when the Rockies are down 3-4 and their starter has to get pulled early. But that would have been a great 3 to 4 inning Senza stretch.
Yeah.
Now, the Giants hit literally everyone else anyway, so maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But a situation like that, I would like to see Senza in every once in a while so they're not burning other arms. And I understand he's super high leverage guy and he's proved himself in close games and late innings. But if it's a 1-run game or it's tied, having him, the ability for him to go 3+ innings is, I mean, you don't get that very often from guys out of the bullpen.
It is.
Yeah.
I would like to see that at some point, and because I feel like they're not getting the most out of him when he's only pitching 1 inning or 2, when he can get more at the same level of pitching.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting because like he only pitched 1 time in the last week. He only pitched against LA, in the last game of that series in the 4-1 loss. He only pitched an inning. He did allow a run, which again, whatever, it's fine. 1 of 4 runs he allowed in the month of May, by the way. So absolutely crazy. And it's interesting, like you mentioned, because, in the last 10 days, he's pitched once. He's pitched 1 time. And a part of that also is because the Rockies have been in a rough stretch. He's a plus side guy. You're not going to put him in games that you're losing. That's kind of, I think, where Warren Schaefer has been with him. But then I'm also thinking, like, well, what about Jaden Hill? Because Jaden Hill has been not just as good, but he's been, darn near as good. But it does feel like Jaden Hill gets thrown into games that are, like, he pitched against LA in the first game of that, but then he also pitched in one of the games against the Giants. So, like, it does feel that Jaden Hill gets put in more than Senzatella does. So I don't really know what the reasoning is for that. And maybe that was just a, one and done. Maybe he'll be back to doing what he needs to do. But it is a little interesting, and it might be worth keeping an eye on. Also, part of it could be they want to keep him healthy for the trade deadline. And that, as cynical as that might be where they're at, is they need their prized possession guy. Because if Moniak's hurt, you've already got one dude that's your trade chip that is now damaged goods. And so you don't want to make multiple of those. So who knows how they're treating it right now. And I'm sure that a lot of the directions are coming from the top. It's not just Warren Schaefer. Those are probably Paul DePodesta, Josh Burns talking to him, saying, this is what you got to do. Manage it this way. Do
not let him get hurt.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, Senza's already healthy by this point. Like, people are already wanting to look at him for trades. Like, just do not risk it.
Yep, I agree with that. But we close off the month of May and we open it to June, which usually is a really bad month for the Rockies. So, but this year it's kind of the year of opposites. Normally April's also a really bad month, and they were pretty solid in April. So hopefully they can come back and be fine. And they start off the week at least against the Angels, and they play the Brewers after that. The Angels are probably the third worst team in the league right now, second or third. And the Brewers, I mean, they're going to be good regardless. So who knows? We'll see. But
this is easily the easiest month of baseball opponent wise that the Rockies have had this year.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If they capitalize.
Yep. And then a few minor league updates. Nothing crazy. We mentioned last week that Ethan Holiday was out for a little bit with a foot injury. It ended up being a lot worse. I think it was a stress fracture, and he's going to require season-ending surgery for it, which is just absolutely brutal. Like, that really stinks. He was crushing the ball. He was doing super well offensively. We don't talk about his defense. It's not been good.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But that it's just really, really unfortunate, honestly. Because, and also, that Fresno team, that seemed like it was such a fun time, with all the guys there. It seemed like they were having a really good time, and it stinks to just pull them away from that. But I think from what I read was that he has a chance to come back possibly by the end of the calendar year. That's not the end of the baseball year, but the calendar year, meaning he has a chance to play in the Arizona Fall League and possibly Winter Ball. And then he can come back next year. And I mean, depending on how aggressive they want to be with him, he'll probably go back to Fresno to start. Because again, by then he will be 20, I guess. He's 19 right now. He'll be 20. You could put him in Fresno and he's still going to be just as young as most of the guys there. So, not really a big deal. And so, but it just really stinks. It really just does stink that he is going to now be down for the rest of the year. But it is what it is. We got to move on. And then really quick, two guys that have been doing really well recently, and one of them who I think a call-up is pretty imminent, and it may not be the one you're thinking. So the two guys we're talking about is Charlie Condon and Zach Veen, who have both, in the last 15 days, been really, really hot. Charlie Condon, 366 hitting 366 with a 1298 OPS. He's got 4 home runs, 7 doubles, 8 RBI, 7 walks to 13 strikeouts, so pretty solid with a stolen base. He really has proven this year he's a man of many streaks. He's a very, very streaky player. If you remember in April when the season first started, he hit 4 home runs in the span of a week and a half, and then went ice cold for a month. Did not do anything for a month. And then out of nowhere, he has now hit another 4 home runs in the span of 2 weeks. And he just, that appears to be what he's doing, is he's going to be a little bit of a streaky player. So hopefully he can balance that out a little bit more as he grows a little older. Because again, he's only 24 years old. He's not that old. So he's got time to still mature a little bit. And then Zach Veen, who I think personally the call-up is a little more imminent. I think that Zach Veen has a chance to get called up pretty quick, especially if we're talking about how Sterling Thompson has not been the best at the major league level, and with how Zach Veen has been playing recently. He hit 429 with a 1288 OPS. He's got 3 home runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 10 RBI, 4 walks to 7 strikeouts. So he's not striking out as much as he used to, which is a really good thing. And then he also has a stolen base. So absolutely love to see it. And yeah, I do think that a call-up for Veen is on the horizon, and I think maybe this is a hot take, maybe this is a bold prediction, but I think by the middle of June, let's say June 15th, I think that Zach Veen will be on the Major League roster. So, but that's where I'm at with that. But next we have, I guess, if got nothing else, home run draft really quick. Do you have that, Matthew?
Yep. In third place, we have Drew.
Am I at 3?
You're 4.
Oh,
4.
Yay.
Woo.
Yeah. In
man.
second place, we have Matthew. Finally got some new numbers on the board. Tovar is at 4 now, and Sullivan is at 1. We're not going to say who it was against.
Doesn't count. It does count. Does count. Still in the book.
First place, we have Anthony at 23. Goodman had, I don't remember, 1 or 2.
I think he had 1. He had 2. He had 2 home runs this last week.
Okay. I think Rumfield had 1 maybe this week. Or maybe not. I'm not sure. So. And then Karros had 2. Karros had 2 this week.
Again, one of those also against a possessor player, but it's fine.
So there's the standings. Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's the home run draft standings as of right now.
Yep, good stuff. I'll be sure to post that since it's the beginning of the month. I'll be sure to post that on the Instagram, and Twitter, I guess, but whatever. But other than that, I've got nothing else. Let's hope that June is just a better month overall. Need good vibes with this team. Maybe we just need to stop pitching. Maybe we just need to be like, hey, we'll just give you like 6 runs a game, and then can you just let us hit, and then maybe that'll be fine. maybe that's a deal we should make. But other than that, I've got nothing else. Do you guys got anything else for the good of the order?
Nope.
All right. Well, as always, go Rockies, and we will see you guys in the next one. All right. Bye.